All right, today we're going to talk about proportions and proportional relationships. And that's going to be our theme for this week. And they are the same exact thing as ratios. So if you have your packet, you need to turn to this page right here. It is page 30. You can see that. So define it. A proportion is an equation. You remember, an equation has an equal sign, which states two ratios are equivalent, which also means equal to. And remember, we can write ratios as a fraction as well. So what this is saying is, if I make a ratio of 1 to 2, it is equivalent to the ratio of 4 to 8. And this right here is a proportion. It says a unit rate is when the ratio has a second term of 1. So remember, a unit rate could be like 2 to 1. Okay? So to identify if something is proportional or not, we have 3 simple steps. And first step is to set up ratios as fractions. So remember, if I have a ratio of 1 to 2, then when I set up as a fraction, the first number is my numerator and my second number is my denominator. And we're going to set them up equal to one another. If I had 4 to 8, this would be our second one. Then we're going to cross multiply. This is our butterfly method. And then if you are left with a true statement, then the relationship is proportional. So meaning, if I cross multiply here, then 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 1 is 8. If these two numbers are equivalent to one another, then they are proportional. And it's the same thing with solving proportions. You're going to set up ratio as a fraction. This is very similar to our ratio boxes. We're going to cross multiply, and then you're going to solve for the variable. So for example, if I have 1 to 2 equals 4 to x, and I didn't know what my denominator is, I would simply cross multiply. I would butterfly, I would multiply, and then I would divide to find x, a lot like our ratio box. So for example, we've got 2 examples here of determining whether a relationship is proportional or not. So to do that, if I come back up here, I know that my first step is to make them as a fraction, and then I'm going to cross multiply. So 10 times 6 is 60, and then 12 times 5 is also 60. Since 60 is equal to 60, then yes, it is a proportional relationship. So same thing over here. We're going to cross multiply. 10 times 16 is 160. Because they are not equal, then they are not a proportional relationship. So if they're equal, they're proportional. If they're not equal, they're not proportional. To find the value of x, same thing we found right here, solving. You're going to cross multiply. Set them equal to each other. So I have 150 is equal to 10x. We butterfly, we multiplied, and now we're going to divide by the number next to our variable. So 150 divided by 10 is 15. So our variable, our missing number, is 15. And then same thing here. Cross multiply. Now we're going to divide. And we find our variable. So it's a lot like the ratio box. So that it's nothing new that we've learned, but that's proportions for us. And if you flip over to the back, there's all these steps basically on how we talked about setting up a ratio box. And so we're going to do an example real quick for us. It says Kim earned $420 for 30 hours of work last week. If she earns the same hourly rate for the next week, how much will she earn in 40 hours of work? So we're going to make a ratio box, and we're going to label it money and hours. Our first ratio comes from here. So 420 in 30 hours. Our first ratio always comes from the first sentence. And then we don't know how much she earns, but we're looking for 40 hours. So then you end up butterfly, multiply, and divide. So we butterfly, we multiply, and now we're going to divide by 30. And whatever 16,800 divided by 30 is, that's our x. And that's how much she will make in 40 hours. So your goal is to finish this sheet and to also do this page and this page as well.